Becoming an adult in the Lone Star State isn't easy for Damonica Evans until tall, dark, and handsome enters the picture to offer her a fresh start.
They were passionate, they were in love. This was like, hey, fairy tale moments in their mind.
But when a sexy get-rich-quick scheme goes awry, a bloody trail lands them right straight into the long arms of the Texas law.
She would never even have to be naked in front of him.
He reassured her that everything was gonna be fine. They just had to do what they had to do to survive. She trusted him.
And 135 miles away in Palestine, Texas, teen wife Jennifer Simpson seems to have a bright future ahead of her.
The attraction between them was instant. He became her world and she became his.
Until her loving husband ropes her into a heinous crime, leaving their small Texas town forever changed.
She was tortured and beaten, and she wanted somebody to listen to her so that she could get out alive.
She's in love with him. She wanted to prove herself and prove her love.
There are hundreds of thousands of women in prison at any given time in the U.S. These are the true stories of women who committed heinous crimes in the name of love. For my man. Teenager Damonica Evans finds herself raised on the wrong side of the Fort Worth, Texas tracks, with a family that's often at odds with the law, starting with the matriarch.
When you think of a role model, you think of somebody good to look up to. Her mom wasn't really that way. She was into crime and things of that nature, so it wasn't a good path to go down.
Damonica did not seem to have stability in her life. She didn't have a stable footing. She didn't have a support system that she could rely on.
Without an adequate role model and with a parent being incarcerated, it's almost impossible to escape that school to prison pipeline.
After several dead-end jobs, Damonica finds herself following in her family's footsteps and ends up drifting the streets and butting heads with the law.
Damonica spent 2 years in prison. 9 months of it at a time, she was there for forgery. So the other time was for other crimes, but she was released, and it was life-changing, I think, for her. She decided that she wanted to start over and kind of get on the right side of things.
That was kind of a wake-up call for her. She came out determined not to make the same mistakes that she had before.
Before she can turn over that new leaf, the convicted felon crosses paths with a handsome stranger, and she finds that her life may have already changed for the better.
Brandon Daniels, 30 years old, just a beautiful guy to her, and she thought, okay, this is it. He is going to be my fresh start as well.
Brandon had his own encounters with law enforcement. I think Damonica met him and he dazzled her.
They had a lot of similarities. They both probably felt like, hey, we're gonna get it right this time.
Brandon and Damonica had a connection to one another because they came from similar backgrounds, and therefore they had a lot more in common and were comfortable with one another.
Damonica is immediately drawn to Brandon, like a moth to a flame. He showers her with attention, and after a few weeks of dating, they move in together.
It was a fast relationship for them. They started living together. They weren't married or anything, but they were in love. They kind of said, we're gonna depend on each other. Their relationship was about how they could help each other.
But with no job prospects, the need for money starts putting a damper on their whirlwind romance.
Both of them struggled kind of getting a career. They had odd jobs, they would do what they could for money, but she had issues with getting a job because of her felony record, and he couldn't keep a job as well. So, getting money and keeping money was kind of hard. They started to get desperate.
You can't pay the bills with love. You can't pay the bills with Brandon's big smile. All love in the world won't fix that.
I think that was their roadblock. They had the love that they think they needed, but they didn't have the money to pay the bills.
Having a criminal past can really be very discouraging. Having a criminal past makes it very difficult to be able to get employment, and therefore it can make it very discouraging for that person who wants to turn their life around.
Tired of living hand to mouth with little cash, the would-be Robin Hood comes up with an interesting proposal.
His plan was to create a fake escort service that he would use Damonica as bait so that he could trick these high-level executives out of their money.
Brandon would post escort ads in different locations on the internet. And when people would respond to the ads, they would then rob them when they arrived.
Brandon convinces Damonica to be the lure that will bring these men straight into his web. The couple would not only rob the unsuspecting John, but blackmail them.
They would shame the victim into not telling anyone, not reporting it to the police, because they would threaten to tell their family that they had been soliciting prostitution.
He told her he only wanted to scare these Johns into giving them the money, and that would be it, that no one would get hurt.
Damonica loves Brandon and will do anything for him, but this is where she draws the line, until he assures her that her dignity will remain intact.
And he told her that she didn't really have to have sex with these men.
This young lady may have had reservations about following through with this illegal activity because she thought sex was part of it. But once the sex was removed from that equation, now the situation became much more acceptable for her to follow through.
With her hair on point, nails done, and wearing sexy lingerie, Damonica pulls all the stops.
He picked the name Kendra for her to use. He didn't want people to know her real identity. He didn't want to leave any breadcrumbs for his victims to follow once this was all over.
They took pictures, posted an online ad that said, you know, there's these sexual services that Kendra would do. And a lot of people, men, young and old, quickly responded to the ad because they wanted to see what Kendra was all about.
After setting their trap online, Damonica and Brandon look over the Johns that have answered the ad. And one of them sticks out, 36-year-old Hank Jessup.
Hank Jessup pledged to make a donation, a sizable one, for Kendra's services.
So she told Hank to meet her at the Enclave, and that's the apartment that she and Brandon shared.
While they're waiting for Hank to arrive, Damonica has second thoughts about what's about to go down.
I think she's got a certain amount of apprehension. She's admittedly been involved in other schemes before, but never something like this, never something so intimate, never something so personal.
Brandon reassured her that things were gonna be okay and that no one was gonna get hurt.
The couple anxiously waits to make their move.
When they heard a knock at the door, they both got into position. She went to the door, opened it, graciously welcomed him in.
Come on in.
Good. She makes him feel comfortable, and then she makes an excuse to leave the room.
I'm gonna go and freshen up.
And then there's Brandon, suddenly in the room, holding a shotgun.
Fort Worth, Texas couple Damonica Evans and Brandon Daniels are holding unsuspecting trick Hank Jessup at gunpoint in an attempt to rob him.
Get up out this pop. Hey.
And he's threatening this guy, and to make sure his threats are heard, he hits him across the head with the butt of his gun.
Brandon told Damonica to go through his pockets and see what she could find. She pulled $100 out, some credit cards, and she even went and got his phone.
With phone in hand, the blackmail phase begins.
She was intimidating Hank and wrote down the phone numbers out of his phone for his wife and told him that if he were to tell the police anything, she would contact his wife and let her know where he was.
Do you understand me?
In this situation, what we saw was that the couple was relying on their victim's shame in order to keep that victim quiet, to keep them, so they thought, from going to the police. Because bottom line is, Johns who are involved in this kind of activity will do anything to keep their family in the dark as to their activities on the side.
Hank pleads and begs for his life as the duo continues their assault, and just as quickly as it started, it stops.
Well, Hank told them that, yeah, he's not gonna tell the police anything. He was gonna do what they said, and he just wanted to get out of there alive. So Brandon hit him over the head again with the gun and pushed him out of the apartment, and he drove off.
Hank was allowed to leave because they believed that their idea had worked, that he had been sufficiently shamed or scared into not reporting the crime.
The larcenist duo celebrates, but only for a few hours.
They thought that it went as planned. They thought that this was successful, but they realized it wasn't a lot of money that they got from this guy.
So they went back into business, put another ad on a popular adult site, one that's kind of known for that kind of activity. And they waited to see if any fish were gonna bite.
Refrigeration company executive Marion Lee Brown takes the bait and answers the ad. And when he does, the pair thinks they've hit the mother lode.
Mr. Brown was a father, had 2 ex-wives. He lived in the community to the west of Fort Worth.
They were excited because Marion had a lot of money, and they felt like this was someone that they could intimidate, get his cash, and it fit the mold of what they were looking for.
Convinced the plan is foolproof, Damonica schedules the date with Marion at their place, as they did previously with Hank.
To actually set up a plan where they're inviting someone into their own home in order to pull off this crime, well, some may think it's bold. I think it's just plain stupid.
But unbeknownst to the duo, Hank Jessup ends up in the hospital for his wounds and gets some unexpected visitors.
While he was being treated, the police came, and they wanted to know how he even got in this bad state in the first place. But Hank was very hesitant because he was nervous about the information that Damonica and Brandon had on him. So to get Hank to talk, the police promised him that they weren't gonna tell his wife.
And what Hank tells them about his hookup with Kendra heats up the investigation.
Hank was able to provide a description. He was able to direct detectives to the web addresses where he had found the telephone numbers and the photographs. And he was able to show them which apartment he had went to meet with these individuals.
Detectives apply for a warrant to search the apartment where the crime happened, but it will take some time. Later that night, Marion Brown drives straight from work to meet his lady of the night, Kendra.
And when he got there, she opened the door and, encouraged him to sit on the couch comfortably.
I'll be right back.
Marion is shocked when a towering figure with a shotgun walks out of the back room.
Brandon demanded his wallet.
Give me all your money.
But Marion is feisty, and he reached for the gun and grabbed it so that he could get it out of his face. And that's when a struggle began.
Get off!
Damonica was probably starting to freak out because this was not a part of the plan.
Damonica stands on the sidelines of the brawl, watching as the two men wrestle for control.
Marion's gonna go down fighting. During their struggle for the gun, it went on.
And later, Jennifer Simpson will get roped into a heinous crime that will lead to fatal consequences.
She was alive when she went into the water.
She was so in love with Danielle, whatever he told her to do, she would just do it, no questions asked.
Damonica Evans and Brandon Daniels have lured wealthy Texas tycoon Marion Lee Brown into their trap after an earlier successful con. But their mark isn't going down easy.
Brandon didn't think that he would be on the receiving end of a feisty man trying to fight for his life.
During their struggle for the gun, it went off. Hit Mary in the face, killed him instantly. Damonica, I'm sure, was scared out of her mind.
What did you do?
As soon as Marion's body hits the ground, the couple springs into action, covering their tracks.
One of the first things that they did was took anything in the apartment that they could gather that had blood or anything of that nature and cut out the soiled carpet and rolled all of those items up in the carpet. They put the carpet and Marion's body in Marion's vehicle.
They picked up his keys to his SUV, stuffed him in the back of the SUV, and then they drove for 3 hours east to Shreveport, Louisiana.
Come on, you got it.
They arrive at their destination, 13.4 miles wide, Cross Lake.
And so he decided to remove the body from the rug and toss it into Cross Lake. And then they decided to burn the rug, and then they left the SUV in Smith County.
Back at the apartment, their work is far from done.
They replaced the carpet in the apartment, repainted the walls, got rid of the rest of the items in the apartment that they couldn't carry with them.
They are in full cover-up mode at that point. After that, they leave again, try to put some distance between themselves and this crime that they've committed together.
When criminals get involved in illegal activities and they really don't have the experience or even the smarts, well, they get in over their heads, and then that puts them in a situation of where they start making one mistake after another.
Over the next few hours, Marion's body and his burned SUV turn up, just miles from each other. Investigators pore over both crime scenes and come up with some incriminating evidence and a lead on his killer when they find Marion's phone.
Detectives used Marion's phone to trace his last calls, and one of the last calls led them to Brandon's phone.
The number is the same one that was used to communicate with Hank Jessup, the couple's first victim. Investigators show up at Brandon's apartment with a search warrant, but the couple is in the wind.
The apartment was entered and found to be completely empty. We learned that Brandon and Damonica had recently, within the last day or so, moved out of the apartment.
Confident they've solved both cases, investigators put an APB out for Brandon Daniels. A month later, they finally get a call from U.S. Marshals, who have tracked the couple down in South Carolina.
We began researching any known associates with that apartment complex or with Brandon. In the process of that research, we located Damonica and were able to compare her to the images that we'd found on the internet.
Investigators set up surveillance and canvass the general area of the apartment complex. Soon after, they spot Damonica and Brandon walking together. At the sight of police, Brandon takes off on foot, leaving his lady to face officers on her own.
The marshal approached her and took her into custody, and a search of the area was conducted. And in the process of that, the U.S. Marshals made contact with Brandon and took him into custody.
Once the two were arrested in South Carolina, they were extradited back to Texas, to Fort Worth, where they were indicted on capital murder charges.
Damonica Evans and Brandon Daniels are charged with the murder of Marion Brown and aggravated robbery with a weapon. If they thought they were going to get away with what they did to Hank Jessup, they were wrong.
But they were also charged for aggravated robbery that happened before they murdered Marion.
Damonica is immediately questioned.
I did meet with Damonica immediately after she was arrested and asked her to provide me with information about what happened, to explain to me what had taken place. She actually told me that she wanted to tell me what had happened, but that she just couldn't.
Just when it seems that she's ready to talk, she lawyers up and refuses to cooperate.
They remain loyal to the very end because she could have definitely turned him in, he could have turned her in, but she stuck by her man.
Both Damonica and Brandon take plea agreements, hoping for less time. Brandon pleads guilty to murder and is sentenced to 40 years in prison and another 10 for the robbery, to be served concurrently. Damonica pleads guilty to aggravated robbery in exchange for a 10-year prison sentence. Prosecutors do not seek murder charges, since there is no evidence that she actively participated in Marion Brown's murder.
In a true ride-or-die relationship, the couple stays true to one another till the end, but in this case, until they got caught.
Brandon was supposed to be that golden ticket to a good life, and turns out he was a ticket to jail.
Damonica Evans paid dearly for her unyielding loyalty to her man. Next, teen wife Jennifer Simpson is driven by love to do unspeakable crimes. Lone Star beauty Jennifer grows up in a picture-perfect childhood amid the small town of Palestine, Texas. The only thing that's more idyllic is the bond she shares with her single mother. A strict disciplinarian that goes by the book, her mother strives to keep Jennifer on the right path.
Jennifer's mom was like any typical mom. She wanted what was best for her child. She did everything she could to keep her walking on the straight and narrow path, encouraged her to do her homework, encouraged her to do anything that she could basically do for herself. She told her she can be anything she wanted to be.
And once the 14-year-old stunner hits high school, her mom's not the only one who can appreciate her daughter's best attributes.
She started turning heads. More and more boys became attracted to her. But not just because of her looks. She also had this really sweet and outgoing personality. She was quite popular at school.
When young girls are going through school and they're becoming more developed and mature, and all of a sudden they're getting a lot of attention and becoming very popular, it becomes really difficult for their parents to keep them focused.
Even with all the male attention she gets, there's no one that catches her eye until she crosses paths with upperclassman Danielle Simpson. The 19-year-old football star and the freshman are immediately love-struck.
The attraction was instant between these two. He was a tall, athletic build, just epitome of a bad boy. So who can resist a bad boy? Jennifer definitely could not. She looked at him, he looked at her, and the attraction was instant. They couldn't keep their eyes off each other.
Jennifer ignores the rumors that he has a temper and that he had been in trouble with the law. Over the next few months, the couple spends every waking moment together, and everything Jennifer once held dear, including her beloved mother, becomes second fiddle.
Not only was he her first love, he became her life. She began to not care about herself. She neglected her studies. She neglected everything. He had more experience than she did, and she didn't care. She just wanted to be with him.
Teenage love can be exciting and it could be a whirlwind of great feelings, but when it goes out of control, then that can really spell disaster.
Jennifer's mom does what she can to rein the former good girl in, but she runs away from home and into the arms and hospitality of Danielle's family.
He had very nice parents who were very supportive of Danielle, and their home happened to be in the nicer part of town.
Not long after they start dating, Danielle's parents' unconditional love is put to the test when Jennifer becomes pregnant.
At that point, they knew it was more than puppy love, and they were ready for forever.
The couple is ecstatic about becoming parents and are eager to start their own family.
And because they thought they were going to be together forever, these two teenage lovers thought they were ready to be parents and got married. Daniel's parents actually tried to be not only a source of support for them, but to provide guidance. They welcomed Jennifer and the baby into their home.
I think he has your eyes.
Family support is vital for teenage parents. But what can happen is finding the balance between independence and support can become really difficult. And for the parents of these teen parents, at times they can be overwhelming. They can stifle them with the support that they're giving, almost to the point of where they're stopping the growth of these teenage parents.
But even with his parents' loving support, Danielle and Jennifer struggle to make ends meet, and they each long to be independent.
He wasn't employed or not well enough employed to be able to support himself and a family in a residence of his own.
Oh, you are? You're the man. Well, show me your...
Although he was fit and capable of doing any type of job, he needed to get that money, and he would do whatever it took to get it.
Desperate enough to commit indescribable crimes, the couple will go to great lengths together.
This was such a gruesome and heinous crime. The thought of this actually sends chills down my spine.
She was so in love with Danielle, whatever he told her to do, she would just do it, no questions asked.
Newlyweds Jennifer and Danielle Simpson are strapped for cash to support their growing family in Palestine, Texas. So Danielle takes matters into his own hands, quite literally, to solve their problem.
What he began to do actually is rob from his neighbors. He would drive for hours up and down the street, looking to see who was available and what opportunities presented himself.
Burglarizing homes, burglarizing cars, stealing money that he could find in the cars or the homes. And that is the way he was generating income.
When someone finds out that their spouse is generating income illegally, well, it's easy to just bury your head in the sand simply because there's a benefit that's being derived from it.
And one such neighbor, 84-year-old Geraldine Davidson's home, has been a veritable cash cow.
He had burglarized her home previously and successfully. He had been into her home, stolen items of property, and then successfully eluded detection.
The beloved music teacher lives by herself in a nice house not too far from where Jennifer and Danielle live with his parents.
She was active in her church, and, you know, she had taught school, and she was a big part of this community.
One day, Jennifer overhears her husband Danielle talking to his brother Lionel about scoring big to get more money.
So we're going for the long haul.
In this particular incident, Danielle Simpson's motivation was to not only burglarize the home and steal additional property that might be carried away, sold, or trafficked in some way, but he might have also wanted to steal the vehicle.
Danielle was emboldened by the previous crimes. He knew the lay of the land in the house, and he had stolen before. So now he wanted to go in with a bit of a crew and get a bigger haul.
He knew in order for him to be successful and carry out this plan, he needed Jennifer to be with him every step of the way.
Later that night, he approaches Jennifer and asks for her help, which she is more than willing to provide.
Whatever we need to do.
This is her husband, the father of her child, so she probably felt it was her duty to stand by him, no matter how wrong she thought it was.
Oftentimes, a woman may stay with her husband who's involved in illegal behaviors because she wants to protect the relationship. She wants the marriage to work and will go into this against her better judgment just to make it successful.
In addition to Jennifer, Danielle Simpson also recruited his 14-year-old cousin, George Hartford.
On a cold Wednesday afternoon, the three head over to their elderly neighbor's home, hoping nobody is home.
They knocked on Geraldine's door and waited a few moments. When they saw that the close was clear, Daniel went around back, broke a window.
And then Jennifer entered that window, opened the door, and the other two were able to come in, Danielle and his cousin.
Everybody immediately went into action.
They made sure again that no one was there and began to ransack it, going through and looking for the biggest prize, looking for the stuff that they could actually get some money for. And it wasn't long before they hit the jackpot, and that was Geraldine's jewelry.
Then, just 10 minutes into the burglary, things take an unexpected turn.
During the course of the burglary, Geraldine Davidson came home.
The elderly homeowner is oblivious to what's happening in the house. That is, until she sees the broken glass.
They walked downstairs very quietly so that Geraldine wouldn't hear them.
Any hopes of sneaking out unscathed are dashed, as their mark makes a move to report the damage.
When they noticed that she picked up the phone, that's when all hell broke loose. Daniel demanded that Geraldine actually put down the phone and give her all the money in the house and the money in her purse.
Give me the money!
And when she tells him she keeps all her cash in the bank, Danielle's rage boils over.
Jennifer was standing there, didn't make a move. She's probably thinking to herself, this was not supposed to happen. This was not part of the plan. Little did she know that this was only the beginning.
She should have stood up and said, no more, I'm not gonna be a part of it, and walked away. She had no way of knowing this was going to end up a plot to kill.
Desperate Texas couple Jennifer and Danielle Simpson have just been interrupted by their elderly neighbor Geraldine as they robbed her home, when suddenly things take a dangerous turn.
Geraldine probably realized this was her last opportunity to get out alive. And she was screaming, she was squirming, she was kicking and flailing her arms, trying to get away.
But all she saw was him pouncing and pounding on this little old woman, helpless. This wasn't part of the plan. No one was supposed to be home.
Danielle tells Jennifer and his cousin George to restrain the senior, while he finishes going through the house, looking for something to tie her up with.
Daniel came back downstairs with some duct tape. The woman was trying to scream for her life, and then Jennifer actually put the duct tape around Geraldine's mouth. The more she screamed, the more the duct tape actually moved and loosened. He began to tape her wrists, restrained her legs, and he sat her up.
Tired of Geraldine's screaming, Danielle takes matters into his own hands.
He proceeded to throw her over his shoulder, walked outside, and then shoved this poor, defenseless, and probably very scared woman into the trunk of her own car.
Young criminals usually don't think a scenario through. They get in over their heads, they have really bad planning, and it leads to a series of bad decisions or even impulsive behavior. If they just took the time to think it through, perhaps they could keep the situation from escalating. But truth be told, if they really took the time, maybe they wouldn't be involved in that illegal behavior in the first place.
After all that effort, the only thing they made out with was $40 in cash, diamond earrings, a gold ring, an iron, and a television.
Next, the trio takes Geraldine's car for a joyride around town, with the elderly captive still in the trunk.
She was their prize. They didn't get anything substantial in the robbery. Only thing they had was her.
They stop to buy some weed. All the while, their elderly captive makes her presence known.
They constantly could hear Geraldine screaming and moaning in the trunk, and they didn't think anything about it.
After several more miles of the incessant ranting, the crew pulls over.
Danielle ripped the duct tape off of Geraldine's mouth, only to find her screaming, saying that she needed her medicine.
What? I need my medicine. Please, I need my medicine.
Jennifer heard this woman crying, complaining, moaning, just begging for her life. But she sat there quiet as she heard this woman's whimpers.
Danielle yelled at her several times to shut up.
Shut up and stay in there.
He shows no compassion as he slams the trunk in Geraldine's face, and the gang gets back on the road to nowhere.
Over the course of the next few hours, they stopped and visited several friends, and each time, Daniel felt the need to pop the trunk and show off his kidnapped victim, as if she was a trophy. He was very proud and bragging about all of his accomplishments of the night.
Not one person moved a muscle to help her, and they could tell she was really in stress.
When you really wrap your head around all of this, you've got to ask yourself, well, why didn't anyone report seeing Geraldine in the first place? Why didn't anyone step in and stop this heinous crime? I really do believe, my opinion is that mob mentality and peer pressure was the culprit here.
Their trio becomes a foursome when they pick up Danielle's right-hand man, his brother, 16-year-old Lionel Simpson. The group cruises around for a few more hours before adding insult to injury and stopping for a bite.
It seemed like they all kind of got out of the car, and of course she was in the back the entire time.
As the night progresses, Danielle and Lionel grow increasingly annoyed by Geraldine's chronic pleas and decide it's time to silence her for good.
That's a really good plan, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
That's when I think her death was in the cards.
They came to an agreement between the brothers that they were going to have to kill her.
And with that, a solemn pact is forged.
I think when he decided they were going to do something with this woman, it was done.
Her man was on a path of destruction, and he was taking her right down that road with him.
Her love for him was greater than anything else in the world.
"16-year-old Jennifer Simpson, her husband Danielle, and two others have been riding around Palestine, Texas for hours, with 84-year-old kidnap victim Geraldine Davidson in the trunk of her own car. Able to identify her captors, Danielle and his brother Lionel make the call to silence the elderly neighbor for good.
She had to be terrified. She knew that she could identify these guys, and she must have realized that they were not going to let her go. They were going to actually kill her.
Danielle became this cruel person, not the person that she loved and had a child with. He became this person that she probably didn't even recognize.
When Jennifer saw what Danielle was doing, and it was so out of character, even for him, she could have chosen to walk away, but instead, she decided to become part of that scenario.
After discussing several scenarios, the siblings come up with a plan to rid themselves of Geraldine in a neighboring county.
The plan was to tie her up, attach her to heavy cinder blocks, and then toss her body into the river so that she would never, ever be found.
They had to go get more rope. They had to get a concrete block.
Lionel found some cinder blocks on the side of the road and actually threw them in the trunk right beside Geraldine. Daniel then peeled off and the four of them headed towards the Nature's River.
Just after nightfall, the band of thieves arrives at their destination. The siblings open the trunk and mercilessly tend to their human cargo as Jennifer and Danielle's cousin watch from the back seat.
They duct taped her hands behind her back, her face and mouth were duct taped. That rope was tied or knotted numerous times around her ankles in the large cinder block. She was removed from the trunk of the car and she was struck, kicked, and hit several times.
You could hear Geraldine whimpering, moaning, just in pure agony. She tried to fight for her life, but of course they didn't care. They then walked to the river and threw her body in.
Geraldine is still alive when she is thrown in the frigid river on the coldest day of the year. After the heinous crime, the foursome heads back to Palestine in silence.
They dropped Lionel off first at his house, then his cousin, and then Jennifer and Daniel went home to tend to their baby. They actually went to bed and went to sleep as if nothing had actually happened earlier that day.
When Jennifer laid down next to the man who was part of the horror that she had experienced that day, in her mind, this was the only way she could be close to him, by shutting her eyes, distancing herself, making believe that none of it had happened. This defense mechanism only works for so long because eventually, when she opens her eyes later in that evening or the next morning, the horror of all of it does come crashing back in. You can only keep reality at bay for so long.
Hours after being kidnapped, Geraldine doesn't show up for choir practice, and some concerned friends report her and her car missing. A day later, Geraldine's battered body is discovered.
A motorist passing down US 79 glanced over just at the right time as he passed the Nature's River Bridge and could see what appeared to be a body in the river.
Palestine police arrive at the scene and immediately rule it a homicide.
When they pulled her body out of the river, it was quite obvious to those on the scene that this woman had been brutalized. She had contusions and scratches all over her. And the worst of all, they noticed that she had been tied to a cinder block.
She was brutalized, she was tortured, and anybody who could commit this kind of crime didn't have a heart or a soul.
The very next day, police actually located Geraldine's car. The 5 youth in the car identified Daniel as the person who actually let them borrow the car.
The police track down Danielle's whereabouts to his parents' house, but when they get there, he is nowhere to be found.
Daniel escaped, but he left his poor defenseless wife there at the home.
Officers inform her that Geraldine's body has been recovered and transport the 16-year-old to a juvenile detention center for questioning. Under the interrogation spotlight, she says she was there with her husband, but minimizes their involvement in the crime.
Jennifer initially implicated Lionel and George as the main characters of this murder, and she minimized her participation and her husband's.
Excluding Danielle from direct involvement, Jennifer was trying to protect him or remove him from suspicion.
When her husband Danielle is brought in for questioning, he spins a very different tale.
Unlike his wife, who was very faithful and tried her best to protect him, he threw her completely under the bus and blamed her and his cousin for all the events that went down.
His only loyalty is to his sinister sibling.
He claimed no role or responsibility himself and minimized any role or direct involvement of his brother Lionel.
Based on all the conflicting stories, Lionel and George are also brought into the station for questioning. They each maintain their innocence and blame the others.
Everybody was pointing their fingers at everyone else in an attempt to save themselves.
I have no idea what's going on.
Jennifer and her husband Danielle Simpson, his brother Lionel, and his cousin George are charged with the capital murder of Geraldine Simpson. The pressure proves too much for the 16-year-old bride, and she decides to save her own skin.
She remained loyal and steadfast to her husband through and through. But in the end, Jennifer had to testify against him and his brother Lionel in order to save her life.
Danielle Simpson is sentenced to death by lethal injection. while his wife Jennifer is sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 30 years. Jennifer trusted a man who had no concerns with destroying her life.
I think Jennifer was on a road to destruction before her and her husband committed this crime. But once they did this, their lives were over.
Jennifer lost her life, essentially. She lost her child. She lost her childhood. This man started her out on a path of destruction very early on. The path that her mother actually laid out for her was no longer the case.
She had no idea that she was going to take a captive and then be a part of a murder.
When Leslie Gordon's boyfriend whisks her away for a quick getaway in Detroit, Michigan, she hopes their time alone together will bring them closer.
She was in love. This was her dream guy.
But when her man lets her in on his devilish plan, her weekend full of romance spirals into a deadly nightmare.
He didn't want any witnesses, anyone to identify him and Leslie as being a part of the robberies.
The only way that she was going to survive this was to do exactly what Michael said.
And later, hoping to turn her life around, Erica Shepard moves in with her brother in Houston, Texas, after a tumultuous relationship with her ex.
That was the place that she thought she would be safe.
But when a friend asks for a favor, her fresh start quickly fades as danger's shadow lurks in the horizon.
They snuck into Marilyn's apartment and hid, armed with knives.
There is blood everywhere. It's the most grisly kind of murder you can imagine, and within just a couple of minutes, they will die.
There are hundreds of thousands of women in prison at any given time in the U.S. These are the true stories of women who committed heinous crimes in the name of love. For my man. Motor City native Leslie Gordon's life changes drastically while growing up in a single-parent home.
Leslie was a handful for her mother. She struggled to raise Leslie on her own.
Her mother was super strict. And because of that, they butted heads a lot.
Sometimes a parent's divorce may result in the kids acting out badly because they may blame either the mom and/or dad for the marriage ending.
The preteen constantly defies her mom's authority and tries to escape any chance she gets.
Her mom kept looking for her when she would run away. And there were times Leslie would run away for days, weeks, and sometimes months.
She tried everything she could. She even paid to send Leslie to a private Lutheran school, and she got kicked out of that school.
Unable to discipline her child, the frustrated parent gets fed up with the troubled teen and relinquishes her parental rights.
Leslie's mom sent her to a juvenile facility until she reached legal age, really hoping that this experience would wake up Leslie to really begin to live a better life.
Parents may end up taking drastic measures to discipline their kids, especially if they feel that nothing really works.
But the time spent in the juvenile facility makes little impact on Leslie. When she is released at the age of 19, she has to find ways to fend for herself, even if it means getting in trouble.
Leslie worked at different odd jobs in order to maintain a sustainable lifestyle. She had friends that she could go to for support, but she was really on her own.
Once she got out, you would think that she would be on the straight and narrow, but she had a run-in with the law when she attempted to cash a forged check and got busted for that.
I believe that Leslie continued to act out even after she was released from the detention center, because that's all she knew. She continued to be rebellious.
Leslie's tryst with the law only earns her a slap on the wrist. But it's enough of a wake-up call for her to start to get a job and earn money the right way to support herself. The tides don't change for the next few years until, at 24, she meets 30-year-old Michael Schofield while taking a stroll one afternoon.
He was driving down the street and he spotted Leslie, so there had to be something that he liked about what he saw, so he pulled up and started talking to Leslie.
Michael was a soft-spoken, handsome furniture salesman.
The type of man that Leslie was attracted to had a tough persona, kind of like that bad boy image. So I believe that his tough persona drew him more to her.
But what she doesn't know is that she's not the only woman in his life.
She never really had a steady relationship, so when she met Michael, I think she thought she may have hit pay dirt at that point.
Shortly after they start dating, Leslie quickly learns that her new boyfriend's playboy ways aren't the only thing she has to worry about. Michael has a dark and violent past that landed him inside a prison cell at the age of 14.
He shot a star football player and 2 other students at his high school, and he was convicted of second-degree murder.
He serves 5 years in a maximum security facility until his release shortly after his 19th birthday. But despite the red flags waving at her, Leslie's in too deep with Michael and doesn't let his sordid past waver her feelings for him.
Michael was her dream guy. She didn't care about his bad ways.
Women who fall in love with bad boys quite often are attracted to the excitement of that kind of an individual who goes against the rules. A lot of the time, it's about the allure and mystery of that kind of an individual.
But a few months in, when the honeymoon phase is over, Leslie sees his true colors.
Where have you been? Why are you asking me questions? Where have you been? You've been gone?
She found out, pretty fast that he had a temper.
Michael's temper would get the best of him, which pretty much led to angry outbursts.
Sometimes a woman finds it very difficult to break out of a tumultuous relationship because she's hoping that the endearing qualities of that individual may one day come back again.
To make up for his transgressions, Michael invites Leslie to a romantic weekend at a resort just outside of Detroit.
I think she was hoping that this weekend would be a defining moment in their relationship.
I believe she was curious about how he could afford this fabulous lifestyle, but she was excited. She was getting to spend time with her man.
He picks her up in his white sports car and whisks her away.
What Michael had planned was really an exciting weekend. He took Leslie on a shopping spree. He treated her to an expensive, romantic dinner. He just spoiled her.
A person's intentions aren't always honest. If they want the other person to do something for them, they'll butter them up and treat them nicely. Then they'll swoop in and ask them for that favor.
While she savors the pampering she's receiving on their romantic rendezvous, Leslie claims she is caught off guard when Michael makes an eye-opening revelation about himself.
I'm the devil, and I'm going to send you straight to hell.
Leslie laughed it off.
She just thought it was a silly joke he was playing.
Leslie had no idea that this joke was about to become a reality.
Leslie Gordon believes that she has found the love of her life in Michael Schofield. But the Detroit native is left speechless while on a romantic getaway when her man makes an offhand remark that chills her to the core.
They were in the middle of this nice dinner, and Michael looks at Leslie and says, "I'm the devil, and I'm gonna take you straight to hell." Leslie didn't let on that she was concerned by that comment. She actually laughed it off as a joke.
Leslie did not want to bring the mood down, so she let the comment go in order to continue the romantic evening with Michael.
The couple spends the rest of the night expressing their desire for each other. Then, the following morning, Leslie states that after she and her lover wake up and eat a leisurely breakfast, Michael makes another stunning announcement.
I want us to rob this place.
Michael told Leslie about this plan he hatched to rob a store nearby. She quickly agreed to do it.
Sometimes a person will do anything they can to hold on to that person they love, even if it's something illegal.
With Leslie on board, Michael asks his lady to don one of the new outfits he had purchased for her from their shopping spree, and then hands over a few items that they'll need for the robbery.
Michael tells her to put a 9mm gun, Ziploc ties, and gloves in her new purse.
Certainly when someone tells you to put a gun in your purse, you have to think twice about that. She just obeyed her man.
Next, the two drive off to the Novi liquor store in his white sports car. When they're inside the store, Michael takes the gun and zip ties from Leslie's purse and instructs Leslie to distract the store clerk.
Allegedly, Michael wanted Leslie to purchase a lottery ticket in order to be a distraction while Michael came in to make his move.
According to the store clerk, Michael walks up to him and Leslie, holding a gun in his hand.
He told Leslie to stand at the front of the store and look out for anybody that might be coming in.
Michael points the gun at the clerk's head, orders the clerk to go to the back of the store.
Then, the clerk states that Michael tied his hands with the zip ties, shoved him inside the walk-in fridge, and locks it before going back to the counter.
Michael took the cash out of the cash register. He took the safe, and Leslie and him walked out of the store, driving back to the hotel.
Full of guilt over what they had just done, Leslie is exhausted and decides to take a nap for a few hours.
While Leslie was asleep, Michael drove all the way back to Detroit to take the safe to his home.
When she woke up, she sees Michael sitting on the bed watching TV.
Leslie did not have a clue that Michael left while she was sleeping.
According to Leslie, he then asks her if she's up for an additional robbery.
Even though she was remorseful, when he suggested that they hit another store, she agreed to go along with the idea.
Sometimes people go along with another person's plans simply because they're in fear of their own lives and think that if they don't do what they're told, something bad may happen.
The duo leaves the hotel and heads towards Westland, a suburban town just 20 minutes outside of Detroit. Shortly before 8 p.m., a liquor store surveillance camera catches a white sports car pulling into the parking lot.
Just like the previous robbery, Leslie was to purchase a lottery ticket so that the clerk would be distracted. As she was purchasing the lottery ticket, she heard a gunshot.
She sees that Michael has shot this other clerk. She tried to remain calm and follow the instructions that Michael was barking at her.
Sometimes a person will go along with another person's plan and put a blind trust that everything will be okay. But when things go awry, then they begin to rethink their choices.
Next, Michael orders her to go to the front of the store and make sure nobody comes in. As she walks towards the door, he turns to the other clerk and fires at him as well.
After Michael shoots both of the clerks, he begins to look for the money and the video surveillance tapes.
Michael could not find anything. He was very unsuccessful, which produced more angry outbursts from him.
While he frantically continues his search, Leslie spots two men getting out of their car and heading towards the front door.
Leslie locked the door and told them that the store was closed.
Michael figured out what was going on, and he didn't want them to get away and possibly call police.
Leslie states that Michael told her to unlock the door and to let the two men in.
She unlocked the door and told the two men she was part of a security company that was working at the store that day. Michael was hiding in one of the aisles when the two men walked in.
The two newcomers have no idea the nightmare they've just walked into.
Witnesses weren't an option for Michael.
And later, Erica Shepard's inability to say no takes her on the joyride of her life.
Marilyn didn't die soon enough for them, so they used other means to try and stop the struggle.
Their time was running out, and fast.
Leslie Gordon holds her breath when two men step inside a liquor store while her boyfriend, Michael Schofield, hides along the aisle after shooting two store clerks during a robbery in Westfield, Michigan.
When the two men walked in the store, Michael allegedly jumped out of the aisle and shot the two unsuspecting men.
One died instantly, and the other one was hanging on for dear life after he shot him in the neck.
Leslie is at a loss as to what to do next.
Leslie's reaction was a bit bizarre. She just started walking around. She walked over the bodies, and she started humming a tune.
When a person is in shock, they're really in a daze, and their mind is trying to catch up with whatever it is that's going on, and they almost feel like they're sleepwalking through that situation.
Meanwhile, Leslie witnesses while Michael tries to access the cash inside the register, but has trouble getting it to open.
He ordered Leslie to go back to the front of the store to be the lookout.
Once Leslie was at the front, she saw another car pull into the parking lot.
She told Michael that a car was pulling up, and at that point, Michael said, "Hey, baby, let's just go."
The two make their exit and calmly walk out toward the new car. But before the newcomers know what hit them, a surveillance camera catches a man matching Michael's description, aiming at them.
He shot each man right in the face. They both died.
Now, having gunned down 6 people, Michael aborts his plan for a quick getaway and puts Leslie to work.
Michael ordered Leslie to get the gloves and go back into the store to wipe down the door handles, making sure all fingerprints were removed from the door handles, IDing them being in the store.
Fearful of what he might do next, Leslie follows her boyfriend's instructions.
People will sometimes do what other people ask them to do because they're afraid of what might happen if they don't follow that order or command.
She was just doing what she was told as his partner in crime.
She wanted to make sure she did not upset Michael in any way. She just witnessed the man shoot 6 people, and she was fearful that she could be in jeopardy.
Once Leslie is confident that all their fingerprints are wiped clean, she hops back in the car, where Michael is waiting in the driver's seat.
As they rushed out, the man saw Michael and Leslie leave the scene of the crime.
The witness immediately calls 911 and gives the dispatcher a complete description of the vehicle and the gruesome crime scene. When investigators arrive, they quickly find one of the unsuspecting patrons, a store clerk, and both men in the car are dead. The remaining 2 victims are transported to the ER, where they ultimately survive. Police waste no time in trying to locate the couple, and within minutes, they track them down. But Michael isn't ready to go down without a fight.
He took the police on a 25-mile, 100 miles per hour high-speed chase on major highways.
He figured it was easier to flee and try to get away than to get caught because he was facing some serious time.
Police finally force the sports car off the highway and into a residential area where they're trapped at a dead-end street.
Michael and Leslie immediately got out of the car, running away from the scene.
Officers catch up to them 4 blocks away, trapping them with no way to escape.
His back was pretty much against the wall, if you will. He pulls out his 9mm and puts it to the roof of his mouth and pulls the trigger. And he died instantly.
Shocked at the turn of events, Leslie surrenders.
Leslie had to be a mess because Michael has committed suicide right in front of her. She was left to take all the blame.
Sometimes when a person has nothing to lose, they may just end up clearing their conscience by coming clean and just being honest with everyone who surrounds them.
Powerless to talk her way out of trouble, Leslie does just that.
Leslie cooperated with the police, giving them a written confession, admitting to everything.
Leslie Gordon is charged with multiple counts to include both first and second-degree murder, assault with intent to murder, and assault with intent to rob while armed. She is found guilty and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Due to his untimely death, Michael Schofield is not charged or convicted of the crimes committed, but the case is now closed. In the end, Leslie's love steered her in the wrong direction that led her to make some poor choices.
Michael took advantage of Leslie. He took advantage of Leslie's love. He knew that she was very vulnerable, and she would do anything for him.
Sometimes following your heart can steer you in the wrong direction. It will make you ignore the red flags and end up in a situation that may take you down the wrong path of love.
She simply was just following her heart, and she allowed her heart to lead her down the wrong path.
Leslie Gordon gave up her freedom for a man who, in the end, took the easy way out. 1,400 miles away in the Lone Star State, Erica Shepard follows the beat of another person's drum that takes her down a sinful road. Hailing from the blue-collar streets of Bay City, Texas, Erica Yvonne Shepard has always walked a righteous path.
Erica was raised very religious. She had strong Christian values.
A difficult course, given that her mother has been anything but a savior.
Why have you done these dishes?
Erica herself described her mother as a monster. She would leave Erica and her brother alone a lot.
Her mother's lack of presence in her life leaves her vulnerable to the evils of the world around her.
Erica was sexually assaulted as a teenager. In one instance, the babysitter's boyfriend forced her to perform oral sex. That's the kind of nightmare that Erica was living through.
Sometimes people who are sexually abused may end up in relationships that may just be sexual in nature, and this may end up leading to more promiscuous sexual behaviors.
In a desperate attempt to find love, she finds herself pregnant in her early teen years.
By the 10th grade, she was already a mother of 2 young boys.
Erica has a hard time juggling between caring for her kids and finishing high school to get her diploma. And with the continued bad blood between her and her mom, she turns to her grandma for help.
Her grandmother was very supportive of Erica. She took her and the 2 boys in.
Shortly after moving into her grandmother's house, the teenager accompanies her to get her car fixed. That's where she meets a local mechanic, Frank Page.
Frank and Erica hit it off and they started a relationship, but they had to keep their relationship secret.
Frank was a guy who was 10 years older than Erica. He had been married before. She didn't know a whole lot about him, but she was smitten with him.
Sometimes when a girl grows up without her father, she may be more vulnerable to meeting someone who she may view as being more of a father figure, and that is usually someone who is much older.
After a few months of dating, Erica and Frank are hot and heavy, until she hits a bump in the road that threatens her newfound happiness.
Their secret love was about to be exposed.
At this point, her fate was sealed.
Deep in the heart of Texas, teen mom Erica Shepard tries to keep her relationship with her 26-year-old boyfriend, Frank Page, under wraps. But she makes a stunning revelation that threatens to reveal their secret.
Erica found out she was pregnant, and this would be her third child.
What? You're pregnant? Oh my goodness, that's great.
She was hopeful that having this baby with Frank would finally give her the home and the family and the stability and the love that she desperately craved.
A person who grows up in a broken home and later on has their own children will fight like heck to make sure that that child had everything that they never had.
Her man is thrilled and promises to be there for her and the baby. But the pregnancy also forces Erica to come clean to her grandmother about her clandestine relationship and the life growing inside her.
Her grandmother was disappointed, but she supported her just like she supported her through her other 2 pregnancies.
Studies have shown that teens who end up having children face a lot of psychological stressors, especially as they get older. If there is family support or the support of the father of that child, that may in some ways lessen that impact of the stress on the family.
A few months later, Erica gives birth to a baby girl with Frank by her side. She's overjoyed when he expresses his desire to be a traditional family.
Frank said, I want you to stay at home full-time. I want you to be a full-time mom, take care of the babies, take care of the home. I'll go out and earn the money.
She was very excited about this offer for her other 2 kids, and so this guy was someone who was going to take care of all of them.
Eager to have the family she has always wanted, she does what her boyfriend asks and drops out of school, and Frank moves into her grandmother's home. But not long after they start living together, Erica begins to see a different side to her beau when he begins to verbally abuse and make threats against her.
He would tell her, I will kill you if you try to leave me.
Erica puts up with his sudden outbursts for the next 2 years. Then, at 19 years old, she's finally ready to break free from his hold and decides to end things and move on, looking to make a fresh start.
In my opinion, what Frank made her endure, made her more susceptible to a man's influence. Erica was trying to keep distance between her and Frank. She didn't want to rely on a man.
She decided to move to Houston and move in with her brother.
People sometimes run away from home or from their families so that they don't have to deal with the issues or the pressures that they may be facing on a daily basis.
Erica leaves her 2 older children with her grandmother and packs up her and Frank's young daughter and head to Houston, where she feels they'll be much safer. She makes herself at home with her brother and his unemployed live-in boyfriend, 19-year-old James Dickerson.
James was a young man who was from a troubled background as well. He was also from Bay City, Texas. He did not work. He had a mindset that goes, I don't have any money. Let me go out and jack somebody up for some.
Erica and James quickly bond and become best friends. And while her brother works most days, she and her new bestie hang out doing nothing but watching her daughter. They spend their days musing about travel and other things they'd like to do in their leisure.
When a person comes from an abusive relationship and they meet another person who comes from a similar background, they end up perhaps becoming more attracted to one another because they can then identify with what it is that they have in common.
Then one afternoon, while her brother bonds with his niece over errands, the 2 friends talk about taking a trip back to Bay City for a quick visit. But there's one thing standing in their way.
They needed 2 things, money and a car, and that's something neither one of them had.
James said, you know what? Let's rob somebody to get those things.
Erica readily agrees to accompany her new man friend, and the 2 begin to concoct a plan.
I think it's possible that Erica was in agreement with James's plan because it would result in some money for her.
Sometimes a person will go along with a good plan or even a bad plan as long as there is a hefty reward waiting for them at the end.
While the 2 discuss how they're going to proceed with the carjacking, a friend of Erica's brother, Omar, stops by.
Erica and James didn't tell Omar about the plan, but they did speak in front of him openly.
The duo has no qualms discussing in front of their guest about the type of victim they're looking for and how they're going to attack. And after they come up with a strategy, the twosome decides to put it into action the next day.
Those who have committed a crime or about to commit a crime, especially against someone that they don't know, they don't even care about the consequences of their actions or the consequences of what their actions will be.
The following day, Erica and James begin to scout for a victim. And as luck would have it, they don't have to go very far when they spot a shiny black sports car pulling into the complex.
The sports car was important to James because that was the car that he always wanted. This made him even more excited to go through with the plan.
They watch out the window as the car's owner, 43-year-old single mother of two, Marilyn Sage Maher, goes about her day.
They had watched Marilyn open the trunk of her car, open the doors, carrying groceries into her apartment. She carried one set of groceries in, left the door open to her apartment, and then returned to her car.
They figured that was the perfect moment to carry out their plan.
They grab knives from the kitchen and the two rush downstairs.
Erica and James snuck into Marilyn's apartment and hid.
When Marilyn enters her home with her next load of groceries, she gets an unsettling feeling when she hears a noise. She calls out and walks toward the bedroom door.
Hello?
After Marilyn called out, Erica jumped out, and she had her little knife, and she tackled her. James immediately went to help Erica tackle Marilyn and subdue her.
Marilyn is shocked to see two intruders in her home. Her simple trip to the grocery store has turned into her worst nightmare.
Stop! Shut up, or I will slip.
Marilyn started fighting and screaming for her life.
She did not stand a chance.
Erica Shepard and her BFF, James Dickerson, are in a scuffle with Marilyn Maher after the devilish duo attacks her inside her Houston apartment, hoping to rob her blind and steal her car.
Marilyn went bonkers. She started screaming, she struggled, and she kept desperately yelling for help. James kept saying, "Be still or I will slit your throat," but she just kept resisting.
Erica then demands that Marilyn hand over her car keys as James holds a knife up to the helpless woman.
Initially, Marilyn did not give her the keys. She told Erica that she was crazy and that she wasn't giving her anything. James raised the knife a little higher up to Marilyn's throat and demanded the keys.
That's when she threw some money out and basically relented. Marilyn then capitulated and said, "Hey, there's money in the bedroom, the car keys are in the bedroom, take whatever you want, don't hurt me." They were armed, they were dangerous, they were desperate.
James then forces her flat on her back, sits on her chest, and begins sawing at her neck.
He tried to slice Marilyn's throat and was unsuccessful at making a fatal wound. So Erica retrieved a butcher knife from the kitchen and handed it to him.
James stabs Marilyn 5 times, slashing into her jugular vein.
You cut the jugular vein, there's a lot of blood, and it's pulsating, and someone could actually lay there, struggle, and bleed to death for 2 to 3 minutes.
Meanwhile, Erica runs up to Marilyn's bedroom to search through her belongings, finding more money and the keys to her car.
After James has brutally, viciously stabbed Marilyn in the neck, he called out to Erica to come help him because Marilyn died.
He then grabs a plastic bag and tries to suffocate the struggling woman.
Even through that bag, she was still gasping for air.
The duo removes the plastic and covers her up with a bedsheet to try to suppress her breathing even more. Then, James grabs a makeshift weapon sitting on a glass table nearby.
James took the 10-pound statue and hit Marilyn over the head with it. He did it with such force that it caused the statue to break in half.
At that point, Marilyn Maher was dead.
I don't know why James and Erica decided to murder Marilyn, but she obviously put up a fight. She fought for her life. According to the Harris County Medical Examiner's Office, Marilyn ultimately died from blunt force trauma, from stab wounds, and from being beaten, bludgeoned to death.
When someone is just acting on adrenaline, they are just determined to do what they have to do. They just want to get the job done by any means necessary.
Now, with no one standing in their way, the two friends make their escape.
They grabbed the car keys, they grabbed the money that they had taken from Marilyn, and they got in the car and took off.
They left the apartment complex on their road trip to Bay City.
Most often, criminals work quickly. They just want to get in there, perpetrate that crime, get out of there as quickly as possible before they get caught. But the thing is, they're not thinking about the evidence they have left behind.
But in their haste to leave the scene, they fail to notice a man watching their every move.
There was a witness to their crime, and he was not going to keep quiet.
The time was running out, and fast.
Erica Shepard and her friend James Dickerson are quick to leave town after robbing and brutally killing Marilyn Maher inside her Houston, Texas home.
They left her body in her apartment, they jumped into her car, and they headed to Bay City.
Once they arrive, they pick up a friend and show off their new ride. But the fun doesn't stop there.
They were staying in a motel, and it was like they were on a vacation. They were even swimming in the motel pool.
Sometimes people will show off simply because they have accomplished something that they thought was really fantastic. They have achieved a goal, and they want to prove it to everyone else.
Meanwhile, back in Houston, Marilyn's 19-year-old daughter, Stacy, arrives home to the apartment she shares with her mom.
She noticed that her car was gone, so I think she assumed that Marilyn was not home. And then she noticed bedding on the floor. That's when she realized someone was under there and there was blood.
She sees her hand, and she realizes it's her mother there murdered on the floor.
Stacy was mortified, and she immediately called 911.
Houston police rushed to the apartment.
Investigators collected evidence and photographed and videotaped the apartment.
They found 3 knives, and they found a bloody handprint.
After gathering evidence in the apartment, they questioned residents at the complex to find out if anyone had seen or heard anything.
One neighbor told the police that they saw 2 people who fit the description of James and Erica leave in Marilyn's sports car.
Investigators dig deep to find out who the 2 people are. They catch a big break the following day after word spreads in the media. Erica's brother's friend Omar remembers the conversation he overheard between Erica and James.
Omar came forward to police and said, "I have something to tell you." And he told them that he was present when James and Erica were plotting to carry out a robbery.
They said that they were gonna...
He also provided information that they were in Bay City, or that they were going to go back to Bay City.
Houston investigators notify Bay City law enforcement to be on the lookout for the twosome and the stolen sports car. Hours later, patrol officers spot Marilyn's car parked outside a motel.
Police found James and Erica in the room where they were staying, and also in that room they found a knife. And that knife was very similar to one of the knives found next to Marilyn's body.
The 2 are arrested and transported back to Houston for questioning. Over the next few days, with their friendship virtually over, the bond between the 2 partners in crime is broken, and they don't hesitate to throw each other under the bus.
I interviewed James Dickerson, and he confessed to his role and also implicated Erica in the capital murder. And at the same time, Erica Shepard was being interviewed in another interview room by another detective, and she confessed as well.
When someone commits such a heinous crime, often they're compelled to confess, not just to clear their conscience, but to also get that crime, that stench off of their soul.
James Dickerson is convicted of capital murder and is sentenced to death by lethal injection. But after 4 years, he dies of AIDS while he awaits his execution. Erica Shepard is charged with capital murder and is found guilty by a jury after deliberating for less than 2 hours. She is sentenced to death by lethal injection.
Justice prevailed in this case. Both Erica and James were apprehended quickly, and they were both tried by juries of their peers and sentenced. James Dickerson ultimately paid for the crime with his life. Erica Shepard has remained on death row for a long time. From a personal standpoint, every murder case you investigate, you take a little bit away from each. It's not an ideal situation.
You ain't leaving.
In the end, the abuse Erica endured from her ex made her more susceptible to another man's influence.
Erica tried to run away from her past, but the past always has a way of catching up.
Quite often, people end up dating the same person over and over again, even if it's different people. They seem attracted to that kind of a personality, that kind of a behavior, quite often because they never learned in the first place why they may be under the spell of someone who can be so destructive.
You almost feel like she's a person who didn't have a chance. Every man who intersected her life brought nothing but trouble and dismay until finally, the final man in her life, James Dickerson, brought absolute turmoil, chaos, violence, murder, and death.
In Charlotte, North Carolina, teen mom Ashley Owens struggles to provide for her 2 children when she falls hard for another teenager.
Both of them were looking for the same thing, looking for a connection.
But when an opportunity strikes for the couple to get some fast holiday cash,
Go,
Ashley decides to help her new boyfriend with a devious plan.
He was very trusting, and they used that to their advantage.
She had absolutely no idea what he was capable of.
And later, in Danville, Illinois, as soon as Nicole and Calvin Eason marry, she can't wait to be the best wife and mother she can be.
They were living in dire straits, but they had each other and they had love.
But when their own children are taken away from them, Nicole vows to give her husband the large family he's always wanted, at any cost.
That time when I was there, I started to hate it more and more.
I remember when I looked into the house, there was something dead on the floor.
There are hundreds of thousands of women in prison at any given time in the U.S. These are the true stories of women who committed heinous crimes in the name of love. For my man. At just 19 years old, Ashley Owens is a single mother of 2, trying to make ends meet in Charlotte, North Carolina.
People would consider that she's still a baby herself, and she didn't have the family support that she needed.
She finished the 8th grade, and that's as far as she's gotten educational-wise.
She does whatever she can to put food on the table, which leaves her little time to pursue the normal pleasures every young woman desires.
I think Ashley was probably looking for someone to love her, take care of her, love her children.
Being a single mom with 2 kids can be such a difficult and isolating experience, to the point of where you end up becoming vulnerable to almost anyone who shows you any semblance of attention.
That's when 18-year-old Devontae Jamal Turner, or DJ as friends call him, walks into her life and changes it forever.
They met each other, and DJ was considered a smooth guy. But he was the tough guy, he was the ladies' man.
They shared the same financial struggles, and based on those shared troubles, they immediately fell for each other.
To distract them from their financial woes, DJ brings Ashley along when he hangs out with his siblings at his grandmother's house. He introduces his new girl to his half-sisters, 18-year-old Aviance Bryan and 19-year-old LaToya Parks.
LaToya was deaf, and she went to the North Carolina School for the Deaf.
She knew how to read lips. She knew how to sign.
Aviance has learned to sign in order to communicate with LaToya, which is a very endearing thing for a sister to do.
After just a few weeks of dating, Ashley spends every free moment she can with her new boyfriend.
When young mothers don't have much of a support system, it's just so easy for them to latch on to any kind of surrogate family.
It isn't long before Ashley discovers that LaToya has a deaf boyfriend, 21-year-old Michael Shull.
They met each other in school, and Michael had graduated before she did, and he was out working.
They had been dating on and off for roughly about 2 years.
Unlike DJ, who is often strapped for cash, Ashley learns that Michael has a well-paying full-time job.
Michael worked at a mechanic shop. He made a fairly decent wage to take care of himself.
Michael lived in the suburbs with his parents, and he also drove a really nice pickup truck.
And the young man has a generous heart.
Michael will often give money to LaToya's family and to LaToya.
He would buy clothes, or if they needed a car fix, just basically whatever they needed. And the fact that he was spending so much money on the family, whatever needs that they had, anyone outside looking in may have assumed Michael was wealthy.
When you see someone your own age who has an impairment and they're getting more out of life than you are, then it is possible, instead of being proud for that person, to actually becoming really jealous.
Then one afternoon, with Christmas just 4 days away, Ashley shares her financial worries with her man.
What's wrong, baby?
I don't have any money for my kids for Christmas.
Ashley knew that she could not really provide for her kids the Christmas that they really wanted.
What are we gonna do?
But DJ knows exactly what to do.
In order to get money, DJ felt, well, let me ask my grandmother if she can give me the money.
We'll have a good Christmas.
Okay.
DJ and Ashley head over to his grandmother's house and pick up his half-sister Aviance along the way. But when his grandmother refuses to give him cash, DJ goes to plan B.
So who can we rob? Who's got some money?
As the three mull it over,
I don't know anyone with money.
one person suddenly comes to mind.
You could say that it was very calculated.
And with his girl by his side, the two young lovers come up with a simple plan to get some quick cash that goes terribly wrong.
Situations like that will make people do some crazy things.
Ain't no money in here. They didn't think this thing all the way through. Figured out, they said, what about Michael Shull? Because we know that Michael's supposed to be getting paid that day, that he may get a Christmas bonus.
What about? Hey, we can do that.
I think they thought Michael was an easy mark. Michael was deaf. He was a nice guy. It was convenient for them. He had just gotten paid. So all of the factors were there. DJ decided he was going to rob Michael.
So we need to plan this.
I think it just deals with what goes through a teenager's mind, what goes through an 18 and 19-year-old's mind. They're not fully mature. They haven't thought things through. They want it quick, fast, and in a hurry. You know, instead of going to college for 4 years and to try to get a career, I want my money now.
But DJ knows he's going to need some help.
DJ could not sign language, but Aviance knew sign language.
So you in?
Wanting to support her boyfriend and needing a piece of the pie, Ashley also goes along with the plan.
I think a lot of it had to do with jealousy and greed, but I believe Ashley was in love with DJ. She was willing to do anything to impress him.
When you're young and in love, It makes it so easy to go along with criminal behavior, even though you know on a very deep level that what you're doing is wrong.
The three discuss the part they will each play in the crime.
DJ told Aviance to have LaToya and Michael meet them at their grandmother's house after Michael picks LaToya up.
How are you gonna tell him that you want his money?
He decided to give Michael a note telling Michael he was going to rob him.
To make sure nothing goes wrong, DJ decides to take some insurance with him.
Aviance saw DJ pick up a knife from the kitchen and put it in his pocket.
Just then, Aviance gets a text from LaToya that she and Michael are on their way over. DJ and Ashley quickly move her car into position, just a few houses down.
DJ told Ashley to remain in the car while he goes back inside the grandmother's house to wait for Michael and LaToya to arrive.
A few minutes later, the innocent couple shows up, unaware of the trap they're walking into. That's when brother and sister make their move.
Aviance came outside and signed to LaToya to step out of the car in order for DJ to get in the car.
Not suspecting anything is wrong, LaToya does what her sister says and joins her as they walk to where Ashley is waiting in the car.
DJ came out and got into the passenger side of Michael Scholl's pickup truck. They went down a little further from where the grandmother's house was.
That's when DJ hands Michael the note as planned, but the young man doesn't react the way he expected.
Michael began to laugh, thought it was a joke. And I think that at that moment, DJ had something to prove. I think that he may have snapped and saying that, how dare you laugh at me and not take me seriously?
With that, DJ tries to snatch Michael's wallet, but Michael resists.
Things got really physical in the truck. They began to fight.
And I'm thinking that maybe Michael began to overpower DJ.
So Ashley's boyfriend reaches into his back pocket.
DJ pulled out a knife, stabbed Michael 2 times in the chest.
While Michael tries to stop the bleeding, DJ thinks quick.
DJ then stole Michael's wallet and got out of the truck, threw the knife down on the ground along with the note, and proceeded to head to the getaway car.
Michael also gets out of the truck, but he doesn't get far.
Michael, in so much pain, stumbled 2 to 3 houses down and collapsed in someone's yard.
DJ runs to where Ashley is waiting for him, with the car running and Aviance and LaToya in back.
Stabbed. I think I can. What are you? Go, 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 go.
Ashley does as instructed and peels out of the neighborhood.
She could have said no. She could have called police and said, hey, Michael Scholl, he needs help. But she did not do that.
When you're acting only on adrenaline, it's quite easy to just be so manic and purposeless that you are going to latch on to the person who's kind of got it together and who has that plan.
While Ashley drives, DJ opens up Michael's wallet to divvy up the cash and can't hide his disappointment.
It's nothing but cards.
No money was in the wallet, just debit cards and credit cards and things like that. It just goes to show you the immaturity that they think that, oh, he got paid, so he's gonna have all of his money in his wallet.
LaToya could tell something was not quite right. They were talking really, really fast. Too fast for her to ascertain what they were saying.
The young woman has no idea what's coming next.
They had no conscience about what they did. They didn't care.
To me, that just showed coldness.
And later, in Danville, Illinois, Nicole Eason is so determined to give her husband a family they can call their own, she decides to take extreme measures.
She was obsessed with creating the perfect life.
They certainly weren't the parents that they pretended to be.
For days, Ashley, after her boyfriend, DJ Turner stabs his sister's boyfriend, Michael Shaw. Inners are all ignoring her.
She did not know where Michael was, so she proceeded to text him with no response.
Then Ashley and DJ drop her and Aviance back at their house. Meanwhile, a neighbor notices Michael's truck.
Charlotte 911.
Yes, there's just a car in front of my door, and I don't know what's going on. Two guys jumped out and ran and left the truck sitting right here.
So police came out to the neighborhood. They ran the tags, and the car did not show up stolen. So then they just said, well, let's just call a wrecker to come and let's tow the car. While they were doing that, a neighbor said that there was a guy lying in her yard.
The officer checks the man out and sees he's been stabbed and calls an ambulance. But he's too late.
They declared Michael Shaw deceased at the scene.
It was really sad to know a man like Michael was killed in such a heinous way, all for quick cash, because you're looking at a man just unable to talk and really exclaim what's going on.
Homicide investigators quickly arrive and secure the area. They search the victim for identification, but even without his wallet, police are able to connect him to the abandoned truck.
Based on the DMV records from his truck, they were able to ascertain the address of where Michael lived.
Around midnight, investigators contact Michael's family and get their first big lead.
When detectives broke the news to Michael Shaw's parents, they were very upset. They didn't know what was going on. Then the father said he was going over spending time with his girlfriend, LaToya.
Police waste no time, and first thing in the morning, they arrive at LaToya's home, hoping to get some answers. They find her there with Aviance and bring them both down to the station. They question LaToya first.
LaToya was very upset when she was talking to the police officers, just very uneasy that something horrible had happened to Michael, but she didn't have any answers.
In the next room, her sister Aviance isn't so innocent.
When the police questioned Aviance's story kept changing.
That's not how it happened.
But faced with the severity of her crimes, the teenager cracks under pressure.
Aviance finally confessed to the police what had happened and told the police about DJ and Ashley.
She is charged with murder, armed robbery, and conspiracy to commit armed robbery. Police immediately head out in search of her two accomplices.
Meanwhile, Ashley and DJ had taken Michael's credit cards and gone to the mall.
They were basically on a shopping spree, and Ashley just felt, I think in some regards, rich. This was probably the first time she didn't have to care about a price tag, how much something costs, and she was able to purchase things for her children.
Oh, she looks so cute in this.
For some people, when you are not directly responsible for a crime, it's really easy to kind of just separate yourself from it and not take responsibility for what it is that you have done.
But their carefree days are short-lived. When that afternoon, police find the couple.
2 days after the incident, the police found Ashley and DJ at Ashley's home and arrested them both.
They are charged with murder, armed robbery, and conspiracy to commit armed robbery. Knowing she could go away for a very long time, the young mom gives up her man. Ashley Owens and Aviance Bryant agreed to testify against DJ in exchange for the first-degree murder charge being dropped.
They both claimed they had no idea that DJ was in fact going to kill Michael.
They both plead guilty to conspiracy and robbery with a dangerous weapon. Aviance receives 5 to 6 years. Ashley is sentenced to 6 to 7 years behind bars. Her children stay with her grandmother. Devontae DJ Turner makes his own deal to avoid a life sentence.
DJ agreed to plead guilty to robbery with a dangerous weapon, conspiracy to commit robbery with a dangerous weapon, and second-degree murder.
He receives 28 to 37 years in prison. At sentencing, both Aviance and Ashley beg Michael's parents for forgiveness.
When someone has gotten through the heat of the moment, especially during a crime, when things kind of cool off a little bit, then they can actually look at the seriousness of what they've done.
Though Ashley claims remorse for her actions, she still has to live with the fact that if she had never met DJ, Michael might still be alive.
Yes, he was the wrong guy for her. But she controlled her destiny. She could have stood up and said that, no, let's not do this. So I think both of them are responsible for what they did, and both of them have to be accountable for what they did.
And the youthful minds of Ashley and DJ, all they could think about was themselves. And the families lost a loved one. Ashley's children lost their mother. And it really doesn't make any sense.
Greed and envy can prevent someone from seeing the larger picture, especially when they're young and under the influence of someone else's criminal behaviors.
Ashley Owens let her feelings for her boyfriend cloud her judgment and risk losing her kids forever. Next, in Danville, Illinois, Nicole Eason is willing to sacrifice everything to give her husband the family they've always wanted. Born in the New England town of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, young Nicole Hamilton grows up fast.
She was the oldest of three, so her mother had to raise her and her siblings.
With so many mouths to feed and her father out of the picture, the family suffers from poverty and all that comes with it.
They were in very dire straits. They didn't have a lot of money. Nicole said she was a victim of domestic abuse.
Although no charges are ever filed.
It's quite easy for them to, as an adult, be surrounded by the wrong environment, people who have the wrong kind of influence, and blur the behaviors between proper parenting and the same kind of dysfunctional or destructive parenting that they were exposed to as children.
But after high school, things seem to look up for Nicole when she starts dating a local cashier, 27-year-old Calvin Eason.
He was significantly older than she was. He could really help take care of her.
And they have more in common than she realizes.
Calvin had low IQ. Nicole was extremely heavyset. Both of them were minimally educated. They were living in dire straits, but they had each other, and they had love.
That old saying, birds of a feather flock together, is often quite true, especially when you have two people who don't have much going on for themselves, but somehow find significance in one another.
Before long, the two will share the same sick compulsion as they embark on a quest for the ideal family.
She wanted her perfect life.
She was determined to have some type of family with Calvin no matter what.
In Pittsfield, Massachusetts, 18-year-old Nicole Hamilton falls hard for local cashier, 27-year-old Calvin Eason. Despite a 9-year age difference, the young lovers move into a small home, and for the next year, they live a modest life. But something's missing.
Her and Calvin really wanted a family. When you grow up without a whole family, sometimes you want that perfect life, that white picket fence and the dog.
Then one day, their prayers are answered.
Yeah, we're pregnant. Yeah.
That spring, Nicole gives birth to a baby girl, and just a few months later, the new parents tie the knot in a small ceremony. But it soon becomes obvious that parenthood doesn't come naturally to the Easons whatsoever.
10 months after they had the little girl, they took the little girl to the hospital. Come to find out she had a broken femur.
Doctors also discover 2 old fractures in different stages of healing, but the new mommy gives no explanation.
So that raised, some eyebrows. Child welfare believed that they weren't fit to be parents, and they felt that the child was in danger.
They suspect child abuse and place the Eason's daughter in the foster care system, but no charges are ever filed against the couple.
The child being removed from them, I believe that it was heartbreaking, especially because neither one of them were that old, and this is their first child.
Saddened by their loss, the couple tries again, and a year and a half later, Nicole becomes pregnant with their second child. She can't wait to give her man what he wants.
She is going to do everything she can to keep Calvin happy.
When you are void of a real life, it's so easy to meet that one person who may fulfill your needs, and therefore you give your whole life, your whole being to that person.
But just weeks after giving birth, Massachusetts Child Services learn of the baby.
They removed the child from the home and put him in foster care as well.
Devastated at the loss of another child, the couple decides to make a change. Hoping to start fresh, the Easons move to a tiny home in Danville, Illinois, a mostly rural area, over 900 miles west. But Nicole is still determined to have children with her husband somehow. So she immediately jumps on the computer and does a little research.
When someone feels that they have no control over their own lives, that need of control may take place in a very dysfunctional way by controlling the people who are most vulnerable, children.
Before long, Nicole stumbles across an underground market called rehoming, where adoptive parents seek new homes for their adopted children.
There are reasons such as children who are molesting other children. You could have children who are violent. You could have children who, for whatever reason, don't fit into your family.
The essentially lawless marketplace is primarily successful for parents who adopted their children from overseas. Shockingly, often the only legal document needed from the parent is a basic power of attorney. Nicole thinks this is the perfect avenue to accomplish her goal.
She created a fake profile. She presented herself under the name as Big Mama.
Nicole makes up a charming backstory and current life to make her and Calvin look like ideal candidates. She even finds a template for a home study online.
A home study is a report that is done by a social worker, and that study has everything to do with who you are. It's a record of you and your desire to adopt, and it's kind of the Bible of adoption.
She copied and pasted her information into this long template, presenting herself to be someone who was qualified.
She uploads it to her profile and joins the numerous rehoming groups online. And it isn't long before she gets noticed by one of the group members, 40-year-old Megan Exxon. Megan is a loving adoptive mother in Hickory, North Carolina, who volunteers to help the group and share her own success story.
Nicole seemed to be a loving mother and a very normal, everyday person. She was very experienced in adoption and foster care. I remember her saying that her husband was very interested in adopting.
She tells Megan that her husband Calvin doesn't work because of some minor health issues.
Calvin had a tracheotomy, and I never asked her about it. I recall her saying that Calvin stayed at home with the children and that she worked for this attorney. They loved children. She wanted to be a mother again. She wanted to help children. She seemed to have a really good heart.
So Megan introduces Nicole to another group member who lives in California and is looking for new parents for her 7-year-old adopted daughter, Poppy.
Poppy's Mexican-American, and the little girl required extra time and care that she felt she wasn't able to give her.
Her adoptive mother claims Poppy has been diagnosed with reactive attachment disorder.
Reactive attachment disorder, or RAD, is a psychological disorder where a child who has been neglected may not be able to form attachment types of behaviors with anyone else in their lives, especially caregivers.
Nicole pretty much let it be known that she was an expert with children with reactive attachment disorder.
For people who may want to bring children into their homes or families without the authorities or police knowing, will quite often choose children who have had some emotional issues, because these are the kids that no one will listen to if they cry out for help.
The two couples make arrangements, and by the end of the week, Poppy's adoptive father shows up at the Easons' front door, ready to hand over the 7-year-old. And with no one the wiser, the Easons now have the family they've been dreaming of.
It never would have occurred to me. My judgment could have been so off.
These were two sick individuals.
In a desperate attempt to have a family together, Nicole and Calvin take a 7-year-old girl named Poppy from the rehoming community into their home in Danville, Illinois.
The adoptive father, he took her out there and handed them Poppy's things, gave them a stack of paperwork, and off he went.
You're going to love it here, I promise.
I remember me eating them and not wanting to go inside. I didn't know them. I stood out there for a couple of minutes.
For the next few days, Nicole and Calvin do their best to try and earn Poppy's trust.
At first, they were really nice.
We've got a movie for you.
I didn't know a whole lot about them. I just kind of stayed to myself.
It's yours. Keep it.
But things only devolve from there.
I played by myself most of the time. They just kind of did their own thing and I did my own. I don't remember going to school at all. And as time went on, when I was there, I started to hate it more and more.
Then one night, things take a turn for the worse when Poppy's invited into the bedroom to watch movies.
The only TV in the house was in the bedroom. So if she wanted to watch cartoons, she had to watch them in the master bedroom. But here's the problem. They were having her watch pornography.
They weren't dressed or anything whenever I was in there. I was confused on what everything was going on. I didn't know what was all going on at that age.
Meanwhile, to the online group, Nicole announces that Poppy loves it there and is making new friends. So when she spots another post about a 14-year-old boy named Marcus, Nicole steps right up.
That was her specialty. She wasn't worried about him, and she could handle him.
Sometimes when you get away with a crime, it starts to give you this feeling of invulnerability or invincibility. And so you keep on going down the wrong path, thinking you can get away with more and more and more.
After Poppy's been there a week, the Easons take in Marcus, and Nicole continues to lie when updating the former adoptive parents, saying they're all enjoying fun family activities and more.
Marcus was treated the same way. They allowed him to play in these unfit conditions. He didn't go to school either.
The couple supports their new, growing family by working minimum wage jobs.
Calvin drove a taxi. Nicole, she worked in a convenience store.
But if the children don't fall in line, the Easons have their own way of correcting them.
Stay in the car until you learn to respect us.
Whenever they disciplined us, they yelled at us and I would start to cry, and they would leave me in the car crying.
Then one day, back in Hickory, Megan Exxon learns an independent investigator has been trolling the crooked couple and is suspicious of Nicole's home study report.
We were having a discussion on our page about adoption scams. The private investigator joined our discussion.
Megan is shocked when the investigator shares what she's learned.
She found out that these two were already determined as unfit parents previously with their own children.
I think my blood dropped to my feet. I could not imagine that I had been duped like that. And I told her, I said, I know they have children.
Just a month into their stay with the Easons, the investigator calls the police and asks them to do a welfare check on Poppy and Marcus. But because most officers are typically trained to focus on immediate danger, They don't find anything suspicious.
When the police arrived, Nicole was there. The police officer asked the children, "Are you hungry? Are you warm? And are you in any danger?" And the children said no, that they were fine, and the police officer left.
Still, Megan is horrified and contacts the adoptive parents of Poppy and Marcus, who are unable to immediately get the children. So Megan takes matters into her own hands.
Since they could not come, I was going to go get them.
But before she does, Megan calls Nicole to confront her. When forced to answer for her lies, Nicole's ready with a sob story.
What she said was, "We don't have a lot of money," that people looked down on them because they were a biracial couple. She said she could prove that this was all wrong.
Hopeful that Nicole is right, Megan makes the 10-hour drive from Hickory, North Carolina, and arrives at the Easons in Danville, Illinois. But she's unprepared for what she finds.
It was a very small house. It was filthy dirty. There were bags of garbage in the front yard. There was animal feces all over the yard, up on the porch.
She didn't expect to see this upon arrival. She knew that they were unfit, but I highly doubt she expected to see what she saw.
When people are living in very unkempt conditions and self-neglect, it's a clear sign that there's something going on psychologically.
As Megan gets closer, she sees the two kids out front.
I was sitting on the porch playing with my toys.
She looked dirty and her hair was greasy. Marcus was kind of standing towards the side, talking with her.
Hey kids, look, I'm taking you home.
She peeks past the door only to see the inside is as bad as the outside.
I was disgusted.
Megan suddenly realizes she has no idea what the Easons are prepared to do and pulls out her cell phone.
I had 911 dialed on my phone. I had 9-1, and I had my thumb on the other one.
And out of the darkness came Calvin.
In Danville, Illinois, foster mom Nicole Eason's trash-filled home to remove adoptees Poppy and Marcus. But her husband is home.
And there was Calvin in front of me. And he had on a dirty t-shirt, and his tracheotomy was filthy dirty. And his eyes were yellow. And I remember looking at him and I thought, what am I doing? Like, the only thing I could think of is she had to have been so ashamed of herself. And I said, well, Calvin, I'm here for the children.
Calvin, I'm taking the kids out of here.
And I said, you have no right to have them.
I'm not afraid to call the cops. I'm Megan.
This was a very intense moment. Calvin told her to leave. He made it very clear this was his house.
You trespassing.
As the sun sets, Megan stands firm, while Poppy and Marcus are motionless. Calvin thinks about it for a second, and then decides he wants nothing to do with the police.
Get your stuff.
And he turned behind him and he said, get your and go.
Once the children have packed their things, Megan quickly hustles them to her car before he changes his mind.
It felt like relief of getting away from a place like that.
Since their original adoptive parents choose not to take them back, Marcus is put into the foster care system. But Megan ends up adopting Poppy herself.
I remember looking at her little face, and she took my breath away. And I wanted to keep her so badly.
Once they get back to Hickory, Megan goes to the authorities, and they question the two kids. But without solid evidence, no charges are brought against the Easons.
When Poppy originally spoke with the FBI, she told them just small snippets of things. Not really enough for them to do much, but they were still investigating.
Despite the loss, Nicole and Calvin are only more determined to fill their home with children. But this time, Nicole changes her profile name and creates her own rehoming group.
With starting her own rehoming program, she could be the person overseeing everything.
For the next decade, no one knows exactly how many children the Easons take in as they move around the country, never staying in one spot too long. But eventually, with the love and support of Megan, Poppy, now a teenager, tells the FBI about her experience, which enables them to bring charges against the couple.
I want them to know the truth of what all's happened, everything that they've done to me and put me through.
Authorities move in fast, and based off of Nicole's online presence, they're able to track the Easons down in Tucson, Arizona, and catch them red-handed.
They had children with them. They were charged 2 counts of kidnapping and 1 count of transportation with intent to engage with criminal sexual activity with a minor.
No charges or convictions are related to Marcus. In November 2015, Calvin Eason pleads guilty to all 3 counts. But Nicole decides to take her chances with a jury of her peers and claims she was only helping the children.
And once again, there's Nicole, the great fraud. She's gonna keep it going. I don't know that Nicole knows the truth from a lie.
Poppy takes the stand and testifies about what she endured.
I was so proud of my daughter when she left the courthouse after she had testified, and she said, "I did it." And I don't think she realized up until then how strong she was.
1 month later, Nicole is convicted on all 3 counts. She cries when the verdicts are announced. Nicole and Calvin Eason are both sentenced to a total of 40 years in prison.
The thing that really struck me in this case was the fact that even after Nicole was convicted, she still never accepted responsibility. Nicole did not think there was anything wrong with what she was doing.
Nicole now has a long time to think about how her marriage to Calvin went from a life of love to a life behind bars.
I think that she had the desire to do it, but I think that Calvin was the determining factor in doing it. She wanted to make her man happy. So if this is what made him happy, she was going to do it.
Sometimes individuals may become attracted to someone else who understands them, someone who may also have some sort of a mental illness, and they begin to support each other's dysfunctional behaviors.
पिक्सआर्ट यूज करके आप अपनी फोटो को डार्क कोडिंग कर सकते हो। तो सबसे पहले आपको पिक्सआर्ट ओपन करना। तो पिक्सआर्ट ओपन करने के लिए सबसे पहले अपनी फोटो को पिक्चर पेंट करना है। तो आपके पास पिक्सआर्ट नहीं होता है तो आप पिक्सआर्ट को प्ले स्टोर से डाउन कर सकते हो। तो सबसे पहले आपको पिक्सआर्ट को ओपन करना है, डाउन करके यहाँ पे अपनी फ़ोटो को ऐड करना है। बहुत इजीली आप अपनी फ़ोटो को इसमें ऐड कर सकते हो। तो सबसे पहले यहाँ पे प्लस पे क्लिक करना एंड प्लस में क्लिक करके यहाँ पे अपना रिसेंट में अपना फ़ोटो बहुत सारी फ़ोटो आ जाएगी। सबसे पहले तो अपने फ़ोटो को इसमें सेलेक्ट करना है। फ़ोटो सेलेक्ट करके देखना क्या अच्छा लगता है। तो उसके बाद सबसे पहले फ़ोटो सेलेक्ट करके इसको ऐड करना। तो यहाँ पे आपको डार्क कोडिंग करना है इस वीडियो में। तो इस वीडियो को देखा कैसे डार्क कोडिंग कर सकते हो। तो इसके लिए आपको इफेक्ट्स पे जाना है। तो इफेक्ट्स पे जाने के बाद यहाँ पे बहुत सारी ऑप्शन मिल जाएगी इफेक्ट्स पे। यहाँ पे फिल्टर सेलेक्ट करना। आपको यहाँ से देखना बहुत सारे फिल्टर है। सबसे पहले तो ब्लैक एंड वाइट फिल्टर जो है उसको सेलेक्ट करना है। सेलेक्ट करके यहाँ पे आपको फेड को हल्का सा इंक्रीज करना है एंड इसको अप्लाई करना। अब देख सकते हो एक क्लिक में डार्क कोडिंग हो चुका है ऑलरेडी। नाउ आपको जाना है इफेक्ट्स पे अगेन यानी कलर्स पे जाना। कलर्स पे जाने के बाद कलर स्प्लैश को सेलेक्ट करना। सेलेक्ट करके देखना कौन सा कलर आपको इसके साथ मैच होता है। तो इसको अप्स एंड डाउन करना, मेन ह्यू को अप्स एंड डाउन करना, मैक्स ह्यू को अप्स एंड डाउन करना। सो देखना कैसा लगता है। अब आपको प्लस पे क्लिक करना है। तो प्लस पे क्लिक करने के बाद यहाँ पे आपको इंक्रीज करना है ब्राइटनेस को। तो ब्राइटनेस को इंक्रीज करना। अब आपको जाना है यहाँ पे स्टिकर पे एंड पीएनजी को सेलेक्ट करना है। तो कोई भी पीएनजी ऐड कर सकते हो। यहाँ पे बहुत सारी ओवरले मिल जाएगा आपको। तो ओवरले मिल जाने के बाद देखना क्या लगता है। क्या ऑलरेडी फॉर्मेट हो गया है क्या? एफएक्स पे जाना एंड उसके बाद ह्यूज पे सेलेक्ट करना एंड इसको सेव करना। सेव करके सबसे पहले आपको जाना है सिंपल सेलेक्ट करना। सिंपल को आपको सबसे पहले डाउन करना है। डाउन करने के अपनी फ़ोटो को इस तरह और भी अच्छा करने के लिए आप इजीली कर सकते हो।